Welcome to the only daily podcast focusing on compliance news of the day. Each morning, start your day with a cup of coffee and Tom Fox, the voice of compliance, to hear about 4 of the top compliance, corruption, or leadership stories you will need to start your day. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.
First, a word from this month's sponsor, Ethico.
If you're a compliance officer, middle managers are crucial in getting your programs from you to your frontline employees. But how do we activate those managers and get them on our side? Ethico's new Middle Manager Toolkit equips you with the skills needed to empower your managers, to promote a culture where ethical behavior thrives and employees feel empowered to speak up. Learn how to turn frontline managers into ethical leaders with our new white paper, Empowering Middle Managers as Ethics Champions. And did I mention you can get the whole toolkit for free? Head to ethico.com to download the full toolkit today.
Also, if you are looking for something new and different for the upcoming Compliance Week celebration in November, check out The Compliance Kids. It's my 3-book children's series on compliance and compliance professionals for children. But they make great gifts and great training tools for your employees. You can check it out on Amazon.com. We've linked to it in the show notes. The Daily Compliance News for September 16, 2024, the All FT edition. Today we have 4 stories from the Financial Times. We begin with Basel III, and Daniel Davies asks, has the U.S. started a race to the bottom? Banks have played games with capital, and now that looks like the lesson in humility that we learned in 2008 has been thrown out the window. U.S. authorities have tended to take a two-tier approach to global standards, and it looks like this strategy has now been abandoned. It allowed the Fed to claim it was among the world's toughest regulators, with avoiding too much complaint from the bank lobby, and now the bank lobby has eviscerated Basel III capital requirements. Next up, what, me retire? Why not wait till 80? That's the question asked by Patilla Clark in her article, which said that LinkedIn categorized if you were between 55 to 65, you've hit your decline. Wow. What did LinkedIn get that wrong? So a lot of people like to work. I'm one of them. Can't imagine retiring. Next up, Rana Thorohar asks if Google, Apple Point, and the antitrust regulators are at a tipping point. The last few weeks may be well remembered as a historic turning point in the global efforts to regulate the digital economy. We've seen the beginnings of a third U.S. versus Google antitrust lawsuit, as well as EU rulings against the two. So as our final story is about the 3 things to know about the corporate rollback of DEI. Lee Harris reports that there are 3 key things you need to know. Number 1, companies are shifting the politics of social activism, but not ditching it. They're focusing on narrowing their goals to core business priorities. Yet this will change the content of social activism. Number 2, DEI rollbacks have not had much effect on corporate valuation. Even Lowe's, Harley-Davidson, and Tractor Supply said they're rolling it back, yet it hasn't really bumped up any evaluations literally at all. And final point is, guess what? Many Americans support DEI. In fact, over 60% do. It's only the magma hat wearing idiots who are against utilizing corporations for increased profitability through more effective oversight of all of the factors of DEI. As I mentioned at the start of this podcast, the sponsor for the entire Compliance Podcast Network is Ethico. Well, Ethico has a great new offering this month for you, a toolkit for middle managers. This is something that you, as the compliance professional, can use to move your compliance program forward by giving middle managers the skills necessary to answer a call for speak up or when someone comes in their office and raises a concern. I can't think of a tool that will be more valuable for you in the current era of enforcement. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network and a proud member of C-Suite Radio. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you'll join me again tomorrow.